Ladies and gentlemen, growing old is inevitable. But earning respect in old age, that's something you must build, brick by brick, over a lifetime. Respect doesn't automatically come with gray hair or wrinkles. It comes from the weight of your character, the strength of your principles, and the legacy you leave behind. Many assume age alone demands reverence. But the truth is, only those who carry these 5 powerful qualities truly command respect as they age. Let me tell you what they are. Before we begin, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any video. Reason number 1. The wisdom you've gained through experience. As the years pass and the seasons of life change, one of the most valuable treasures a person can accumulate is wisdom. It doesn't come from books alone, nor does it arrive suddenly with age. It's earned, quietly, slowly, through the lived experience of victories and failures, joys and losses, hard choices and quiet sacrifices. When people look up to you in old age, it's not because you've merely survived, it's because you've learned. You've absorbed the lessons hidden in life's moments, and those lessons have shaped you into someone others trust and respect. Wisdom isn't loud. It doesn't shout or demand the spotlight. It speaks in calm tones, offers thoughtful pauses, and sees beyond the surface. When you've experienced life deeply, its struggles, its uncertainties, and its miracles, you start to understand things others can't yet see. You know that not every battle is worth fighting. You recognize that time is more valuable than money. You've seen the cost of anger, the waste of regret, and the quiet power of forgiveness. That's the kind of insight that can't be taught in a classroom. It has to be lived. People respect you more in old age when they can feel the depth of your understanding. When younger people come to you with problems, they aren't just looking for answers. They're looking for perspective. They want to know how you made it through hard times. They want to hear about your mistakes, your turning points, the things that nearly broke you but didn't. You become a living library of life. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've asked all the questions and wrestled with them in real time. That kind of wisdom brings comfort. It reminds others that they're not alone and that confusion, loss, and fear are all part of the journey toward clarity. The wisdom you've earned also helps you remain calm in chaos. While others panic, you've seen enough to know that storms pass. You've learned how to wait, how to endure, how to breathe through the uncertainty. You understand that most of what we worry about never happens, and that even when it does, we're often stronger than we think. That inner peace becomes magnetic. People are drawn to it, especially in a world that moves too fast and demands too much. Your presence becomes a reminder there's another way to live. Slower, deeper, more intentional. This kind of wisdom doesn't make you arrogant. On the contrary, the wiser you become, the more humble you get. Because you've realized how much you don't know, how complex life is, and how fragile everything can be. You stop judging others so quickly because you know everyone's carrying something unseen. You listen more. You advise less. And when you do speak, your words carry weight. Not because they're clever, but because they come from a place of truth. And there's something else. The wisdom you've gained helps you let go of resentment, of envy, of the need to prove yourself. You no longer chase things that don't matter. You've seen how temporary life is, how quickly it can change, and you choose to invest in what really counts: relationships, peace of mind, meaning. This makes you not only respected, but also deeply admired. People sense your clarity, your purpose, your groundedness. In a world addicted to noise, you become a source of quiet strength. What makes this wisdom even more powerful is when you choose to share it. Not by preaching, but by being present. Sometimes it's a story. Sometimes it's a silence. Sometimes it's just your ability to sit with someone in their pain without needing to fix it. That's when people realize they're in the presence of someone rare. Someone who's walked the road ahead and now chooses to light the path for others. Wisdom earned through experience is a gift you give without even trying. It lives in your eyes, your words, your reactions, your choices. It's the invisible aura that makes others lean in when you speak. It's the legacy that outlives possessions or titles. And in the end, it's one of the truest reasons why, in old age, people will respect you. Not because of the years you've lived, but because of what those years have taught you, and how generously you've used that knowledge to lift others. Reason number 2. the dignity with which you carry yourself. Dignity is one of those quiet virtues that doesn't scream for attention but commands it nonetheless. In old age, dignity becomes more than just how you dress or speak. It becomes the invisible crown you wear, shaped by how you've lived, how you've treated others, and how you carry yourself in a world that often forgets to slow down and honor grace. People respect you more when they see you walk with self-respect, with calm confidence, and with the kind of presence that doesn't need to be explained. It simply is. To carry yourself with dignity means you don't allow the world to shake your core. Even when your body grows weaker, your voice a bit softer, or your pace a little slower, it means you understand your worth doesn't decrease with age. If anything, it increases. Because now you've lived through to know who you are, and you don't need to apologize for it. That self-assurance is rare and powerful. It draws people toward you, not out of pity, but out of admiration. Dignity isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about owning your imperfections without shame. It's being able to say, "I don't know," or "I was wrong," without losing a sense of pride. It's standing firm in your values even when they aren't popular. It's choosing calm over chaos, patience over reaction, and kindness over ego. And when younger generations witness that, they see a kind of maturity that's missing in much of today's world. They see that age hasn't made you cold. It's made you composed. You earn dignity by how you've handled life's toughest moments. Not by how loudly you cried, but by how quietly you kept moving forward. You didn't collapse when life knocked you down. You may have bent, but you didn't break. You still smiled, still found joy, still made space for others even when your own heart was heavy. That kind of resilience wrapped in humility is the foundation of true dignity. When you speak, people listen. Not because you demand it, but because you've proven that your words aren't careless. They come from experience, from a deep well of understanding. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You've learned that real power isn't in volume. It's in value. That's what dignified people understanding. That control over self is more admirable than control over others. That peace is more powerful than pride. And let's be honest, aging can challenge your sense of self. You may retire from your job. You may see your role in the family change. You may lose some independence or face health concerns. But dignity means you don't let those external changes define your internal strength. You adapt without bitterness. You age without apology. You refuse to let society box you into invisibility, yet you also don't need constant validation to know you matter. That silent pride, that quiet knowing, is something people deeply respect. You also carry dignity in how you treat others, especially those younger than you. It's easy to be dismissive, to say, "In my day," or to judge those who don't understand your struggles. But when you approach others with respect, even if they don't yet understand what you've been through, you model the very grace you hope to receive. You show that dignity isn't just about how people treat you, but how you treat them, even when they don't deserve it. In your silence, there is strength. In your posture, and there is confidence. In your eyes, there is history, and in your smile, there is peace. That is dignity. It's not boastful. It's not flashy. It doesn't rely on material things or social status. It's the result of a lifetime of growth, mistakes, reflection, and love. It's the outcome of choosing integrity again and again, even when no one is watching. When you carry yourself with dignity, you don't need to ask for respect. It comes naturally, because people see in you something they want for themselves: peace, wisdom, and quiet strength. You become a mirror of what aging can look like when it's done with honor. And in a world full of noise and rush, that calm presence becomes a rare and beautiful thing. So yes, in old age, people will respect you. Not just because you're older, but because of how you've lived. Because of the grace you've chosen. Because of the dignity with which you carry yourself every single day. Reason number 3, the way you treat others, especially the younger generation. One of the most powerful ways to earn respect in old age is through how you treat others, especially the younger generation. It may sound simple, but in a world where generational gaps often lead to misunderstanding or even tension, your attitude, tone, and willingness to connect can either build bridges or create walls. The way you speak, the way you listen, the way you carry your experiences without looking down on others. These things shape how the world sees you, especially those coming after you. There's a common trap some people fall into: as they aging the belief that because they've lived longer, they automatically know better, and everyone else must fall in line. But wisdom isn't about superiority. It's about humility. If you approach younger people with a closed mind or a judgmental spirit, they won't listen to what you've learned. But if you approach them with patience, empathy, and respect, they'll lean in. They'll see you not as someone from another time, but as someone who still understands and cares. And that alone will make them respect you more than anything else. Kindness is remembered. Condescension is not. If you treat younger people like they're foolish or misguided just because they're different from you, they'll avoid your advice. But if you treat them with genuine interest, if you ask questions, if you listen without interrupting, if you offer your thoughts without trying to impose them, you become a trusted voice instead of a dismissed one. Respect given is often respect returned. Many older people complain that the youth are disrespectful, but often, no one stops to ask whether the older generation gave them a reason to listen in the first place. When a young person feels heard, seen, and valued by someone with more life experience, it creates something rare and beautiful, a cross-generational bond rooted in mutual understanding. You become more than just someone with gray hair and memories. You become a mentor, a role model, a lighthouse in their storm. And don't underestimate how powerful your encouragement can be. This brings, when you uplift a young person, when you tell them you believe in them, when you share a story that gives them strength, when you remind them that failure isn't the end but part of the journey, you give them something their peers often can't. You give them perspective. You give them hope. And in return, they see you as someone of value, someone who still contributes, someone who matters. Respect is not demanded. It is inspired. And the way you treat others is one of the most visible, most consistent ways to inspire it. If you hold space for the younger generation instead of dismissing them, if you offer your lessons without arrogance, if you treat them not as clueless but as capable, then your voice will carry weight. You'll be remembered not for being strict or serious, but for being wise and compassionate. It's also important to acknowledge that the world has changed. The struggles, tools, and lifestyles young people face today are different from what you grew up with. Instead of criticizing what you don't understand, choose curiosity. Ask them about their world. Learn from them. Let the conversation go both ways. That kind of openness will set you apart. You'll no longer be the elder who thinks they know everything, but the elder who still wants to grow. That humility will touch hearts more than lectures ever could. Think about the older people when you were younger. Chances are, it wasn't just their knowledge or achievements you respected. It was how they treated you, how they made you feel. That's what stays with people. That's what lives on a memory long after the words have faded. If you want the younger generation to hold you in high regard, show them what it looks like to lead with love, not ego. Show them how to age with kindness, not criticism. At the end of the day, your legacy will not be defined by how much you taught, but by how deeply you cared. The way you treat others, especially those who are still finding their way, will be one of the greatest reflections of your character. If you lead with respect, if you'll be remembered with respect, if you meet the young with warmth instead of walls, they will carry your influence forward. Not out of obligation, but out of genuine admiration. That's how you remain relevant, respected, and truly honored in your later years. Reason number 4. Your resilience in the face of life's trials. Resilience is one of the most powerful traits a person can possess, and in old age, it becomes a defining measure of character. The life has a way of testing us over and over again. Through loss, illness, disappointment, change, and moments of deep uncertainty. But those who stand tall through it all, who keep going even when everything around them seems to fall apart, earn a kind of respect that cannot be bought or faked. It's not just about surviving hardships. It's about the quiet courage to keep living with hope, even after you've been broken, shaken, or bent by life's storms. When people look at you and see someone who has endured hardship and still walks with strength, they don't just see age. They see courage. They see someone who didn't let pain define them, who didn't surrender to bitterness, who didn't collapse under the weight of the world. That kind of inner strength leaves an impression. It tells others, especially the younger generation, that life may be hard, but we are capable of more than we imagine. It tells them that pain doesn't have the final word. Endurance does. Resilience doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it's as simple as getting up in the morning when grief sits heavy on your chest. Sometimes it's making a meal for your family while battling an illness, or showing up with a smile when your heart is tired. Resilience lives in the smallest, quietest moments, the decisions no one sees. And over time, those choices build a character so strong that people naturally look up to you. They begin to admire your calm in chaos, your ability to weather change, and your determination to keep moving forward, no matter what. As you age, you've likely lost things. People you loved, dreams you once chased, maybe even parts of your own identity. But the fact that you're still here, still standing, still trying, speaks volumes. People respect that. Not everyone makes it through the fires of life and comes out with kindness still in their heart. If you have, you're not just aging. You're inspiring. You become proof that life can wound you, but it doesn't have to destroy you. And resilience isn't just about toughness. It's about flexibility. It's about learning to adapt, to go, to rebuild. The strongest trees aren't the ones that resist the wind. They're the ones that bend with it, without breaking. If you've learned to adjust your expectations, to find new meaning even when plans fall apart, then you've mastered the kind of wisdom that only comes from resilience. That attitude doesn't just help you. It uplifts everyone around you. Others may look at your life and see the challenges, but what leaves the deepest impact is how you responded. Did you keep your dignity? Did you show grace? Did you help others even when you were hurting? If the answer is yes, then you've built a legacy of strength that will never be forgotten. Because resilience is not just about personal survival. It's also about influence. Your story becomes a lifeline to others. Your strength becomes their encouragement. In today's world, where so many give up easily or fall apart when things don't go their way, a resilient spirit stands out like a beacon. It tells people, there is a way through. When you share your story, not to boast, but to uplift, it becomes a roadmap for those still lost in the middle of their battles. They begin to believe that maybe they too can make it through. And that belief is one of the greatest gifts you can give. Even in your older years, resilience continues to serve you. It helps you face the challenges of aging with grace. You may have H's, limitations, or losses, but you choose to focus on what you still have. You find joy in small things, purpose in simple acts, and peace in the present moment. That perspective makes people admire you. Not because life has been easy, but because you've shown what it means to be unbreakable. So when people respect you in old age, often it's not because of what you have. It's because of what you've endured. They see a warrior who doesn't wear armor but wisdom. They see someone who has cried, fallen, healed, and risen, again and again. And that kind of resilience doesn't just earn respect. It leaves a legacy of hope. Reason number 5. The legacy you're leaving behind. Legacy is not something you write on paper or leave in a will. It's something you carve quietly, day by day, through your actions, your choices, and your relationships. It's not about how much money you made, the titles you held, or how many people knew your name. It's about how you made others feel. It's about the values you passed down, the lessons you taught without lecturing, the example you set simply by living with purpose and integrity. In old age, this is what people remember, and this is why they respect you. Not for what you had, but for what you gave. When people speak of you, what will they say? Will they talk about your kindness, your ability to forgive, the way you stayed calm in a crisis or lifted others when they were down? Legacy is built not in one grand moment, but in the accumulation of small, meaningful ones. It's in the times you listened when someone needed to talk. It's in the moments you gave advice that changed someone's direction. It's in the simple act of showing up, consistently, quietly, without expecting applause. The legacy you leave behind becomes your silent voice in the world after you're gone. It echoes in your children, your grandchildren, community, your friends. It lives in the habits you taught, the strength you modeled, and the love you gave freely. And that's why, in old age, people begin to respect you in ways they didn't before. Because they can now see the full arc of your influence. They begin to realize that who you are has shaped who they've become. That kind of impact is profound. It's lasting. It's sacred. You don't have to be famous to leave a meaningful legacy. Some of the most powerful legacies are left by people whose names never appeared in the news. A grandmother who always made people feel welcome. a father who taught honesty by example, a neighbor who was always there when someone needed help. These people may not have riches, but they are deeply respected because their lives mattered in real, tangible ways. They didn't just pass through the world. They made it better. Legacy is also about what you stood for. Did you fight for what was right? Did you speak the truth even when it was uncomfortable? Did you treat others with fairness, compassion, and dignity? These are the things that define how people see you and remember you. And in your later years, when you no longer chase the spotlight, your values become your voice. People look at you and see someone who didn't just exist. They see someone who stood for something. There's also the legacy of resilience. If you've gone through hard times, loss, illness, setbacks, and kept going with strength and grace, that becomes part of your story. Others watch how you handled pain and take notes. They remember your ability to smile through adversity, to keep loving when your heart was broken, to keep serving when you were tired. That quiet perseverance becomes a legacy of strength that inspires everyone around you. Then there's the legacy of wisdom. The advice you gave, the stories you shared, the life lessons you passed on. They don't just fade with time. They sink deep into the hearts of those who listened. Long after you're gone, someone will make a decision and remember your words. Someone will face a hardship and remember your strength. Someone will look at life differently because you once helped them see what truly mattered. That is a legacy no money can buy. In the end, we all leave something behind. The question is, will it be resentment or respect, division or unity, fear or love? In your old age, the way you've lived becomes a mirror. People see your reflection in their own lives and realize your influence has shaped them. That's when they start to honor you. Not out of duty, but out of deep admiration. So leave behind more than possessions. Leave behind values, kinds, memories, and meaning. Build your legacy not for recognition, but for the sake of those who will walk the path after you. If you do that, people will respect you not just while you're here, but long after you're gone. Because your life will continue to speak even when you no longer can. In old age, you cannot demand respect. You must inspire it, not with noise, but with quiet strength. Not with fear, but with love. People will respect you not because of how long you've lived, but because of how you've lived. Let your wisdom guide, your dignity shine, your kindness lead, your resilience uplift, and your legacy echo beyond your years. Then, and only then, will you not just grow old, you'll grow honorable. God bless you,